Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're having a look at Zen by Fracture Sounds. We've checked out a lot of Fracture Sounds stuff lately, and indeed, they are one of my current favorite developers, especially when it comes to the kind of cinematic front of sample library building. But I think what they're doing is super cool. Everything is super clean, pure sounding, very soulful, very well done, plays fantastically. So I'm always excited to see what they have cooking. Now, in terms of what Zen is, I'm gonna look at the email I got, which basically this contains a range of meditative instruments and sounds from around the world. And also this has something new, which is called the Layer Blends engine, which apparently they've been working on for quite a bit of time. So going to their website, they say it's a perfect addition to your scoring palette, evoking calming tones in your music, or conjuring otherworldly atmospheres using the new Layer Blends engine. No idea what the Layer Blends engine is actually at this point, so interested in kind of seeing whether we can just figure it out by looking at it. But some of the basics here. Pricing, I suspect, yeah, this is an intro sale, so intro pricing, at least in euros, for me is 99 euros, and this is including VAT. So if you can deduct VAT, that's going to come off. Full price seems to be 139 euros, again including VAT. Runs in the free Kontakt player, NKS compatibility. Size is about 8.5 gigs, so nothing crazy. Obviously, I don't exactly know what's in here yet, but you know, that's a good size. Doesn't break the bank. I think that's pretty much what I want to wrap up from here. They say that there are 14 instruments in here. Excuse me, 14 instruments in here. And here is the blend engine, which looks like you have 3 layers, and then you can throw in different sources and blend between the two. Let's see what they say here. Combine the entire range of atmosphere layers and sustained articulations across Zen in a simple to use interface. This is kind of what I've been talking about before, because I find the atmosphere layers to be absolutely one of the key selling points of what Fracture Sounds do. They're by no means like the only thing, but it's a very, they do it so well. The atmosphere sounds are very well thought through, and I've actually, before, I've requested that, you know, you could have more control over the elements that are in there. Now, that's, you know, I don't really know what I'm asking there, because I don't know the structure of how they build it. You know, whether it's kind of a sample-based thing, which obviously would be more difficult to control. But any kind of a step into a direction of more control is fantastic. I wonder what they mean entire range of atmosphere layers. Is that only atmosphere layers from Zen, or is that from all of the Fracture Sounds lineup? That would be pretty badass, but I'm guessing it would be Zen. Yeah, you control the balance between all of them with the mod wheel. And yeah, three sounds loaded simultaneously. There's a shuffle button, which is really cool, and that looks like wraps up that section. Instruments inside here: handpan, tank drum, sitar, tanpura, tabla, wine glasses, Tibetan bowl, tuned gongs, bowed, what? Jeez. Bode vibes. There we go. Bode Crotales. I don't know how to pronounce that. Meditation chimes, Tingsha bells, tuning forks, bamboo chimes. So yeah, a lot of stuff that definitely, you know, you hear in this kind of a Zen meditative context, obviously. And I think that's all we're gonna look at in terms of this website here. So let's take this laptop to the back here, take a sip of water, and let's jump in here. In terms of transparency, very usual stuff. Fracture Sounds did send me this copy, so first of all, thank you for them for doing that. That being said, as always, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. I haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do that. And I'm not being paid to make this, to film this video otherwise, so that's really that. In terms of what you're going to hear, it's only going to be Zen meditations in action. I don't add any effects or anything, so what you see here happening and coming out of your speakers or headphones is just, you know, what is within Zen. I have a limiter on the master bus just to make the level good for this video so that it's actually listenable and in balance with my voice. That being said, sounds do vary in level, so I will be having to adjust the limiter as we move along. So if you see me play something here that you don't see on the interface, I'm probably adjusting the limiter. If you happen to hear clipping, that's probably the limiter in action, and if it's not, I'll let you know either way. And I've made the limiter as transparent as possible. I think that sort of covers the basics, so I'm going to take myself into the DAW. So in the browser view, when you open this up, I'm just going to check that this looks, yeah, somewhat reasonable. Here's the list of the instruments. Here we at C15, so I don't know how that relates to the 20 something that they listed. I guess some of them might be within like a single patch or preset, whatever you call these. But yeah, we're gonna just go through these in order, and then we're gonna land on the layer blends at the end and see what that is about. But that is really the, well, not a folder structure because it's not a folder, but that's the structure of it. So Handpan, let's jump in here. I did test this sound before we began just to set the level for the limiter, and I have to say that I already came up with two melodies, two potential tracks, which is really cool. I find this sound to be super well balanced, a very nice balance of tactileness, that impact, and the body and the resonance of the sound is very, very captivating. But let's play a bit to demonstrate that in action. I'm gonna get my sustain pedal somewhere closer to myself. There. Very, very nice sound. It is very, very emotional, like very soulful. Feel like you can actually lose yourself into that. And I feel like the atmosphere layers here are really playing a big part in tying that together. But yeah, super well balanced. And yes, as you can hear, indeed, we do have those atmosphere layers going. So I'm just going to turn these off completely, and you're going to hear the raw signal on its own. Limiter clipping there. Let's pull this back quite a bit. So yeah, definitely like a very beautiful. The imaging is spot on. With the atmospheres, just you get more atmospheres. You get more of this kind of emotional depth in there, but it holds super well together on its own as well. So on the interface, we have something called scatter. So just going to max that out and maybe tweak it to see how it works. Okay, so that's kind of like a auto panner. That's pretty cool. Obviously this is maxed out, so it's a pretty more of a drastic difference, but super nice tool to have in there just to quickly bring some separation and space here. Soften attack, this is really cool because I do feel like that transient impact is really perfect, but depending on your track, that could be just a tad too much. So I'm again going to max it out to see the difference. Okay, that is awesome. I wish every single library on Earth had that, because I love doing ambient soundscapes. This is super cool, and this isn't even an atmosphere layer. This is simply like, what would it be called? Like an attack controlling. Well, there's a number of ways of doing it, but basically turns any sound into a pad. Push the level pretty hard here to get this a bit better. Yeah, super awesome feature. I mean, this would be like something I'd want to have in every library on Earth. Turn anything into pads instantly. That's super awesome feature, and that's a big part of why I've loved the atmosphere layers before, because they kind of do a similar thing but in a more sort of complex way. Let's do soften attack halfway. That's very nice. Let me just kind of try and soften the edge of that transient. Okay, so it's kind of like, you shouldn't think of this as like a transient control. It's more like fading into that pad space. It's kind of like, you know, eboing pianos or something like that. There are these different pedals that essentially control attack and release times for sounds. So this kind of does the same thing. So this is not going to be, I would primarily use this to just padify sounds, or let me actually play a bit more. Limiter. It is a percussive instrument, so we gotta be careful of the transients. It does actually control the transients in a pretty nice way as well in this early range. In here you do definitely hear the transition sort of from a slightly eased up transient versus a already kind of a pad-ish sound. Like you start to hear a blend between the whoop, whoop, the fading in sound versus the transient sound. So they probably have like a natural layer and then probably like a medium speed one and then probably a long one. And this sounds like a blend between the two. Really cool control. Super nice to have it there. Very nice. Next up, damping. So let's max this up again. That's pretty subtle. I'm going to turn off the atmospheres here just to listen to the raw. Sounds like there's maybe a tad bit more control on the resonance, but this isn't super apparent, which makes me think I'm maybe missing a control that triggers it or not. But it doesn't look like that. But yeah, on this, definitely very, very subtle. It does sound like the resonances get sort of controlled a bit more. But then you have reverb in this menu. You get hall and room. Then you have the usual controls for size, mod, damping. Let's just max this out. Pretty nice. That's really good to have in there as a utility at the very least. But, you know, depending on the sound you want to go after, could work. Then you have articulation, so hands, which was what we used so far, and then you have rolls. Limiter clipping, let's pull that down. I'm going to soften the attack on this to check what it sounds like. That's actually really cool because it maintains the roll, but then I get to taper off the transient part of the instrument. So that's actually a super cool sound. And yeah, you can also, with the key switches here, you can control the articulation. This one is mallets, so let's see what that sounds like. Let's pull down the attack. makes it kind of more sort of marimba-like. Yeah, super. That's a really good control to have because the hands are very tactile, very transient. Well, I should say more transient heavy. This makes it nice and soft, and this is a very pleasant sound. And you hear some of the different harmonics and resonances coming from the instrument. Very cool, very cool. Let's turn off the raw. I'm just gonna listen to vibe, which is the first atmosphere layer here. I wonder if these are individual for all of these sounds, but we'll find out, I guess. Really liking that. That's a very, when I say general use, kind of emotional, you know, contemplative pad, that's a very big compliment from my part. Doesn't mean it's generic, it means just like that goes into so many different use cases. And very, very, very nice. Let's do reflect. Kind of a brighter, more resonant version of that, I'd say. And then we have stream. Interesting mix of things. You can hear a bit of like either like a plucking or a granular thing, but then you hear a bit of the original touch as well, and then this kind of paddish sound. So that could be pretty interesting. Again, I'd probably want to dig in there and control the plucking intensity. I mean, we have the intensity control here, so might as well demonstrate this. I'm going to max it out here, so this should speedify and intensify this sound. Okay, so it definitely makes it even like brighter. It doesn't just change the speed and kind of well, I'm surprised to hear that it actually changes the brightness and the kind of overall perception there. Cool, nice. All right, let's move on to the next instrument. This is a tank drum. Very nice. I mean, personally, for this sound, I would probably go very minimal on the atmospheres or what I would be inspired to write. So I'm just going to test the raw here. Impressed by how because when you play this kind of an instrument in real life, the way there's going to be basically how the resonance is, how the actual sound of the individual notes clash together and they create these back and forth resonances, how it plays essentially with itself in relation to itself. This, especially in this range, captures very nicely the kind of the colliding waves there. Especially, I think it was even better with the atmosphere layers there, which is interesting. That kind of those kind of things can be. Let me actually turn these off. Those kind of things can be very difficult to capture in a sample context because you don't actually have the sample of the colliding notes. Unless you do. I don't know how it's programmed here, but I mean, that would be very complex, I would imagine, because it had to sample every combination of every note, and I don't think it's how they did it. Yeah, I mean, it's in there, in the raw one as well, so cool. Let's just do a quick, let's scatter this. Oh, I actually want to hear the soft attack version. That's pretty nice. You can still hear a bit of the original impact point, which I would probably try and take out. Because I really like this as a padifying control, but that's cool. Let's try the different articulation. So mallet hits. Yeah, I love mallets. It's just a beautiful way of striking pretty much anything, except people, obviously. Yeah, beautiful tone. I love these mallets here. Then you have open and muted. So let's try muted. The previous one was open. Very nice. I love that tone. I want to hear that without the atmospheres. I know what I'm after, just can't find it. Beautiful sound. This is my absolute favorite. It's kind of like a beautiful music music box meeting, like a like a Celesta. I don't know what the name is actually. That's very nice. Very nice mechanical feel there in the transient. Super cool. So, looks like every single one has unique atmosphere layers. So, probably in the blending thing, you can go for any of these. So, that's a really cool thing. Let's do ripple first. I'm gonna keep this sound because that's my favorite, and we're not gonna do all of the combinations because that would take too bloody long. But mallet hits, and then this one is called ripple as an atmosphere layer. So you kind of a very watery, bubbly sound. Nice. I'm going to keep the atmosphere in the middle. That's probably going to give you the best balanced experience. This one is called Murmur. We're going to bring down the limiter for that for sure. That was maybe the limiter. Let's pull it back a bit more. Oh crap, I was muted. Maybe. Sometimes this kind of double clicks my mute button, but in case it didn't come through, previous one had a very interesting sense of motion there. This one is called Cycles, which is the final layer for this one. Makes sense, the name matches. Let's go to Sitar. Okay, so this is going to be interesting how this is going to sound. Just try and get a level first here. So this is super impressive because for whatever reason it's surprisingly difficult apparently to make very realistic sounding, very playable plucked string instruments like guitars and the like. So Hemisphere was really well done. I think some of the sounds they worked better than others. Some were sort of felt more simplified or less dynamic. Excuse me. And there aren't a lot of companies that manage to do guitars really well. I've mentioned Orange Tree Samples many times. They're fantastic for that, and Hemisphere super solid, especially in that kind of cinematic ambient sense. But again, still extremely playable. This feels supernatural. Not supernatural in the sense that it is beyond this world, but very natural to play. I wonder what these... Okay, so we have some green keys as well, which are kind of... What would these be called? So I'm sure there's a term for that, maybe like in Sitar language, but these kind of waterfall thingies. I wonder what these two keys do, so let's check. Alright, so a bit of limiter clipping there. Let me pull back a bit more. So, yeah, it seems to change the way the note comes in. So, for the first one, it's sliding up into it. And this one is kind of like starting from the same note, but dipping down. So that's a interesting piece of extra control, and not very familiar with the sitar, but I'd imagine those were sort of standard things that you would probably hear, and probably that's why they included them. But let me play this a bit more. Not very good at coming up with stuff that is in this sort of a style, but very useful to have. Usually the stuff I hear for sitar is pretty very simple stuff, ruminating around a single note. So we got color. Pretty self-explanatory. Good range there. Soften attack, let's max that out. So there you can still hear the original note. So this kind of patifies far less than the, yeah, I know that's a term now, than the first instrument. Let's go to the atmospheres here. This one is called Bazaar. That one is super cool. Like instant cue creating stuff. I'm just like inspired to write with that. That's super well done. This one is called Stream. Sounds like we have a bit of that, what was it called? Handpan in there. Yeah, the kind of glassy, more blowing sound. And this one is called Shine. Very cool. Again, kind of an instant cue creating thing there. Bit of like a digital sounding edge to that as well. Tanpura. I actually don't know what this is. I've heard the name, but... Okay, we're gonna pull down the limiter for starters. Sorry about that. Okay, I recognize the instrument. That low end on that instrument is beautiful. Loving the growliness, loving the resonance, the kind of the rattle. these kind of things, I tend to like these kind of textures. So, but this very beautifully sampled. We should note that I am at full soften attack, so let's pull that back. Beautiful instrument. You really have to write on its terms. Can't really make it do whatever you want. I really like this with the soft attack, and I've actually heard this as you have probably as well on quite a few soundtracks used in this particular way. Like a fading in version. Then you have an infinite sustain articulation mode. See how this changes if I soften the attack. I think this could be cool. Pull back the raw sound and go for the atmospheres. Okay, so I think I've seen two of the atmosphere layers have same names. So we have Bizarre here. And then I think I saw the one from before as well. So it seems like they're not completely unique to each instrument, but rather they have a pool of them which they combine to form these. But let's check just in case. But this one is Sirens, which is the first layer. Beautiful sense of warmth, kind of hugs you, but then there's this distant uneasiness. That's a beautiful, beautiful sound. Let's check out Bizarre, although I think this one, it must be the same. Yeah, sounds like it. So we'll try and remember which ones we checked out. Dust we haven't checked out. That has some kind of built-in pitch stuff going on. Very nice texture though. Very, very, very pleasant. Tabla. Okay, so we have a bunch of color stuff going on here, so yeah, percussive stuff. Has a very nice sense of resonance. I feel like I'm actually hitting the instrument. I'm gonna try and get a decent level here. It's probably a bit quieter, but I don't want to catch too many peaks on the limiter, so you get like a more realistic representation of this. Yeah, beautiful sense of resonance here. Beautiful sound. I could play that all day. No, it doesn't sound like there is a super a lot. That's not even a sentence. There isn't a ton of like difference in the like the textures and sounds that it's delivering. So probably not super diversely sampled, but it plays super nice and I want to hear a bit more maybe textural, kind of, you know, just a bit of like the player hitting the skin. I don't even remember what this instrument looks like. That's how ignorant of a composer I am. But yeah, just a bit more like those human details would just liven this up a bit more. Maybe some of those raspy, kind of grittier textures. No, I don't mean anything intense, but just like tiny details would make this just a bit more richer. Getting a bit of that limiter in there, so I'm gonna pull back. Okay, so this must be sampled basically based on how it's played. So because it mutes the first note, which means that's probably something that the player would do in real life, or commonly does, I'd guess. Because this kind of mutes the resonance of the first note. Yeah, very nice sense of resonance on these hits. Very cool, very nice. On this you have stereo width, low pass, high pass, reverb, pretty simple. Very, very nice to have. I don't think I've actually got too many of these in here, and this is definitely like a staple instrument in that certain style. Okay, next up, wine glasses. So let's see what this is like. Okay, so first of all, beautiful. I was expecting not to like this too much because I haven't heard a lot of good takes on wine glasses, I guess. But this is really nicely soft and beautifully warm and resonant. Doesn't get like, it's not overbearing and it's not pokey and annoying. So very, very nice body to that sound, and I love the tiny bit of that raspy edge there that you do get with the glasses, but it's not, again, it's not overwhelming, but it's not underwhelming. I really like this balance. So again, I'm gonna pull off the attack here, which is kind of like, let's see what it sounds like. nice sound. Again, this padifies this sound. Very nice. Let's do finger hits. We were listening to sustains just now. Let's turn off the atmosphere layers here. Super interesting sound. Actually super unique instrument if it's sampled properly. Beautiful sense of imaging here. You can really almost feel the impact point of the finger on the glass. Imaging is a bit like, let me play a bit more. Kind of sounds like the mic has been shoved in there, not inside the glass, but like I'm there in the middle of the whole tracking of it. So it creates this actually very interesting kind of not phasing in a bad sense, but it sounds like it's a very, yeah, it sounds like the like a stereo mic would be somehow shoved in there in a weird angle. But I really like the result of it. I like the feel of it. Definitely don't want to go too low on this because the pitch gets a bit scattered, unless you want to do something different. But I tend to like this area a bit more. Very, very interesting. Let's do mallet hits, and again, let's keep the atmosphere off. Wonder what this sounds like with the scatter maxed up, because the phase, the imaging of it is already like super captivating. Yeah, you kind of lose that edge. Yeah, again, super interesting texture on the mallet hits. Very nice stuff. Murmur we haven't done tall. So let's do tall atmosphere layer. Beautiful, kind of a fast swooping in one, but this is one of the best textures in there that I've found, because it has that bit of grit front, but a beautiful captive. I actually need to play a bit more of that. Yeah, beautiful, kind of a gritty, saturated edge to it, but it's more of a feeling. Doesn't sound like distorted, but it has that tiny bit of edge there, which is nice. We haven't done memory either, I don't think, so let's play memory. Super cool, minimal type of a reverse thing. Let's max it out. Yeah, very cool. Sparingly used and done. That's very nice. Tibetan Bowl. Let me soften the attack on this. Well, that's very nice because it smoothens out the first half of it, but then we get the, again, the texture and the grit from the rolling of the thing on the bowl, whatever it's called. Yeah, very nice. You get the texture. Yeah, that's very cool. I wonder how much of that. Let's actually try this raw sound. So yeah, it is actually coming from the raw sample. That's very nice. Like that. This soften attack control really exponentially amplifies the usability of this, because I'm immediately going there, wondering, you know, whether I want to have less of that transient information. And also in a library like this, if you do kind of meditative style music or some ambient stuff, that's obviously one of the main things you're thinking about most likely. So let's do soft articulation. Let's do sustains first. It's a wee bit louder. Let me pull down the volume. Let's pull it back even more. These are very resonant sounds. Beautiful. I love the buzzing texture. Obviously they're moving the thing around the bowl, creates these kind of little rattles and buzzes and things like that. Very nice, very nice. Super big fan of that. Let's do hits in a soft manner. Let's pull up the volume here. Let's try the hard articulation. Yeah, immediately becomes more bell-like. I think the soft is the more commonly used one. I do like the sound of it a lot more. Super nice. Again, I don't think I've had anything for this instrument that has impressed me, so this is super nice to have in the arsenal. Vibe we did. Series I don't think we've done yet, unless I've misread something before, but let's do series. I don't know if I misread sirens or something before. Maybe this is that one, but let me play a bit more of it. It sounds pretty nice. Kind of a faster pad swooping in. I'm a huge fan of these sounds that have that kind of buzzing textural edge, but they're not super upfront. They do these things really well. beautiful sound. The low end warmth, the body has a kind of a chorale. No, that's not the right word. Choral sound. Choral sound to it, like this human element, but that's a super cool sound. Very, very nice. Next up, tuned gongs. Limiter is very loud. Again, they're beautiful to hear to that resonance, and it's looping back and forth. That's very nice. Because I imagine that can be difficult to capture, because it's like depends a lot on the miking position, etc., and the space, I'd imagine. Beautiful resonances. Let's do soft hits. Actually like the harder ones better. Cool, that's very nice. Let's do bowed vibes. A lot of these resonant sounds will do that. Kind of sounds like a wine glass version. But yeah, let's do waves as articulation. Like that a lot more. It brings a nice kind of structure to it. We've done the atmospheres on this one. This one is bowed Crotales. Crotales. Show me your Crotales. That sounds like something a doctor would like to check out. I actually love this instrument. Beautiful sound. Very ominous, very, soundscapey building. Also has a waves patch. I'm surprised how pleasant and controlled it remains even in this high end. Obviously, kind of a piercing sound, get quite a bit of intensive resonance, but as far as this sound goes, I think this is probably as good as you can do it. And they probably want to EQ, but also a part of the sound is that it's a bit like, what's the word? Not disorienting, it's a bit troubling, let's put it that way. Very nice. You can choose the wavelength, which is very cool actually. Because then you can custom tune it to your track. Make it very short or long. Very nice. That's well done. Meditation chimes. Yeah, and that's... oh, we had the mic on. Yeah, that's very, very nicely sampled. Has that very distinct tactileness about it. Let's let's soften the attack. It's actually probably pretty nice, like a mixing arrangement thing. You could start very soft and distant and pull it back to the front if you want. I think Frost is a layer we haven't checked out, so let's play that. I think one of the pianos had a Frost layer, so maybe it's from there. I don't know. I think it sounds unique or different. That's super nice, although it is kind of like, I don't know how often I would stylistically use that just in the music that I write, but that's a very, oh shit, what did I do? That's a very, very, very pleasant sound. Obviously that's a tough sound to probably deal with and program this, but it is very pleasant sounding, and tough because it has a lot of these, you know, spikes coming out of it, so to speak, and these resonances. Yeah, very pleasant to listen to. Then we have a Tingsha Bells. I don't know what I'm doing with this mic anymore. Sometimes when you press it, double does what you want it to say. Yeah, but except a train station tune would never be that depressing in Japan. And then you would say something in Japanese, but if I did, it would sound very wrong. So I won't do that. Cool. Okay, so then you can choose loose right, loose left. So probably introduces looseness. Yep, cool. Have we done tall? I don't think we have. So let's do tall. Have we done shrine either? I don't think so. Kind of a super airy, breathy sound. Not a very big range there. I wonder if it's only due to the instrument we have opened here, but let's do Shrine, because I'm not sure if we've done that. Cool. Very nice to have in the arsenal. Next up, tuning forks. Very nice sound. Kind of like a different take on the glasses. Maybe even more pleasant. Let me pull back the soften attack. That's definitely a pretty intensive transient. Kind of the impact point. You could mistake that for some kind of clipping. Although I understand, if you've ever used a tuning fork, it has this kind of, like a very harsh transient clatter. Cool. Bamboo chimes. Let's pull back the limiter a bit. Beautiful imaging. Very nice sense of impact also. I love that. The texture is very rich, bubbly. It's almost like it's hugging me. That's very cool. Wonder if you can't really control the speed here, which would be probably preferable. I'm not sure if some of these keys kind of trigger a slower playing. Well, it is velocity dependent, so maybe that controls some of it. Maybe some of the keys do a different thing. But yeah, very nice imaging. Bamboo chimes single hit. Let me just, yeah, next up we have the layer thingy, majingy. Some of the peaks are going to be captured by the limiter. There's not much we can do about that, but see, it still remains very natural sound. Let me pull back just a bit. Let me play with these. Beautiful imaging, beautiful body. Again, this feels like I'm actually playing it and feeling the resonance of it as I do so. These are going to be super cool for if you're doing kind of like shamanic stuff, like something very simple. That has a beautiful texture. Like sometimes when you have a piece of like broken wood, it resonates in this sort of a distorting way. This one does the same thing. That's a super nice texture. That's a very nice sound. Very interesting how it does the rolling in between. I don't trigger that. I'm guessing it does it depending on coming from note to note. I'm going to pull down the reverb here. Very nice imaging. Very crisp. Nice body. Super nice. Didn't think I was going to be dancing to sticks today, but there you go. All right, then we have the layer blends thing, which is the new introduction, new feature. I guess maybe they'll be rolling this out in the future for future products. Sounds like they worked on it for a long time, so I'm guessing it's going to be a kind of a staple. I don't know if they're going to put it into the older, already released products. That would be pretty cool, but I guess they only have a few atmosphere layers each. I don't know if they're going to make more of them for the old ones or allow you to mix and match, but I don't know. So, layer 1, here we can see all of these. So, let's combine some of the ones I remember that made an impression. Let's do Bizarre. Then let's do series, and let's do, what do I still remember? I don't know, let's do Mist. There's some here that I don't think we bumped into even yet, so. So I must be missing something here, because this sounds like it's only controlling the level here. Okay, so octave -1. I don't... I think they had presets for this one, which there was some kind of a hiccup, but I did indeed do what they asked me to do. I had to replace a folder, which was very, very easy enough. But I wonder, let's do shuffle. Let's see what happens. Maybe I ballsed up something. So to me sounds like it's doing like a general level control here. Okay, so maybe let's put these in the same octave. It's interesting that it's doing a level change, because I would expect to hear like a blend between them. Also, I don't know if it represents it in the way that if I'm in this area, it's closest to layer 1 or 2, closest to this one. So it's not like an XY or a triangle matrix. So that must not be it. because it doesn't represent that visually. And also we just get louder over here. So I have to say I don't understand what's happening. To me it sounds like there's only one layer going on here. Okay, so now I can definitely hear the handpan in there. And maybe a bit of the bowl there. I'm not sure, like this is a bit confusing in the sense that I don't know what the blending balance is. Because we also have this volume change here, which is a question mark. But then it boosts in volume, it increases in volume, but also blends between layers. Which makes it kind of an interesting tool in the sense that if you want to be quiet, then you want to play a certain layer. If you want to go harder, you want something to emerge. So that's kind of definitely an interesting architecture. I would like there to be maybe an option to choose if you want that to be a case. Have kind of an XY matrix or like a triangle matrix in here. Something like, well, Heaviosity has some of those interfaces in Ascend, you know, the piano library, and also Sonic Couture has one in Geosonics as well. So it's not like an XY matrix, but like a triangle. That option would be cool and something I would probably expect to be here. I have to be honest, like I don't know how this is layered in here. Also, I'm pretty confused about the octave control, which as a... Oh, I guess this is like... Oh, yeah, so I can choose... I would presume this means that I can... you know, let's say this handpan is the kind of the center sound I want to have. If I want sirens to be an octave lower in relation to that, I can do that. That's a cool feature. I guess that's what it's doing. Let's try and tweak these things here. Interesting choice. I like this. It's a cool, unique way of doing it, but I would expect to have control between like blending all of them, because now it's tied to a level, and also like halfway here the layer 2 kicks in with the handpan. I can't hear the bowls here, so maybe it's not a very apparent sound. Let's randomize again. So it sounds like layer 1 is kind of brought in, then its level stays at the same level, then the second one gets added in, and then you get the last one. So it's kind of like building a layer on the previous one, which is a pretty interesting structure. Let's I'll keep randomizing this and see what happens. Let me make this mist layer higher up. Yeah, there I could definitely hear something new come in here. So we could also solo them if I had any brain cells. And we could figure that out. Let's pick some of the ones I don't think we bumped into. Collide, I don't think we did. Crystal, not sure. Okay, let's do crystal, and then tape. We didn't do tape. So I'm going to put tape to the top, and I think this helps me identify the layers from one another. Then do 0, and then do -1. Okay, let's try this, so let's see what happens. Alright, let me solo crystal. Alright, so it's kind of like an additive structure. It doesn't blend away from the previous layer, but just adds to it. I know I mentioned that, but I'm kind of talking to myself here. Yeah, we have some unfortunate sound combinations here. Let's change this to mindful. Let's see what that sounds like. Cool, let's try and find something more textural. For the top one, let's do wisp. I don't hear any difference from the octave control. I don't know whether I'm missing something. I don't know if it's a reference to where I should be playing. Alter the octave up or down for layer, but I don't hear anything different. Maybe it's due to the atmosphere layer sound. I don't hear anything different there, but let's check out crystal. Let's change that to something less resonant. Yeah, I still don't hear any difference from the octave. I had to play a bit of MIDI there. That was a mistake. Let's do mist. I don't hear the octave do anything here, but let's try the bottom layer. Cool, let's test this balance. Cool. So that's the way it works, additively adding them without blending out of the one before. That's kind of, it's a very specific take. And I will say it will spark certain creativity that I wouldn't necessarily go for. It was, if I was looking at like a XY matrix or something like that, blending between the two. So it kind of adds, I mean, they are called layers, let's be fair. So layer on top of layer. But yeah, hard to say how often I would use that, because it is just one way of configuring it. So hard to say. It is kind of strange that I couldn't throw in any layers here and just adjust the mix levels, just like in the normal atmosphere window view as we do for the individual instruments, because now you're kind of stuck with this architecture. So I would like to see more variability here. First of all, like a triangle XY matrix thingy, and then also like just being able to set the levels for each without any of this building mod wheel control stuff. Even that would be really cool. But it seems like we only have like attack, decay, sustain, release, reverb thing. I have to say that I'm not sure. Okay, let's actually... It doesn't seem like I can load any presets in here. We can do, obviously, this random shuffle thing, but I don't think this is the preset thing that we're talking about. So maybe I didn't manage to put them in here. I did as the instructions said, but I can't find any, even like a drop-down menu for that. Maybe I'm missing something here. But yeah, I think more diversity in the way that I can configure this, you know, how I can order things, that would be super cool. Make this a lot more versatile, because now I'm just kind of stuck with the layering approach, which again is going to be like, let's say you make an ambient piece. That's often what you do. You start with a foundational layer, and you add something and add something, and then usually go backwards. So that's good. But here, again, I would struggle to have a lot more additional control. Like if I needed to adjust the levels in between, so I'd probably just end up doing the layers individually in the DAW. So that doesn't make this super flexible in that regard. But I do feel like I need to apologize, because I must be missing something here, or maybe not. I think I'm missing the presets, because I think they did say there were presets for this. But I can't seem to see where I would even try to pull those up, because here we can only see the layers, and this blends, and this randomizes, and attack, decay, sustain, release. Cool. We have the reverb settings there. So yeah, as far as I can tell, I can't locate that. But let's wrap this up. So really good set of quite unusual, quite actually rare to find. I've been thinking about this before, especially when it comes to a lot of this. We should have tried to center this screen at some point, but it changed shape. So, well, luckily that wasn't too bad. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these instruments they can be tricky to find. Like if you're trying to write something like mystical, strange, ethereal, or something, you know, meditative, they can be tricky to find good ones, and ones that aren't just like loop based. So this is really good to have, and I think this will actually answer the call of quite a few people who are looking for these. They are brilliantly sampled, again, super playable, super clean imaging, very nice. The impact and the body of the sound, very nicely done. These are things that I noted from like previous Fracture Sounds libraries, like Tom Factory is a great example, and even in the pianos these things are present as well. So I haven't bumped into anything that samples these kind of instruments that does it better and keeps it so playable. Really liking the atmosphere layers, fantastic. I mean, like I said, those are some of the best selling points of the libraries, and that's saying a lot, because already like the brunt of the library is already such a fantastic thing. But I have been asking for more control and options when it comes to the atmosphere layers. Unfortunately, this layer blend thing, as far as I can tell here, doesn't quite answer that ask, but it's a step in the right direction. At least it's added versatility. But really nice to have so many of them in there, and you can again, open, you know, the not the preset, but the patch that has the pad you want open. And again, you can open it just in here as well. Just open it up, and you could do. Well, again, this is kind of the difficulty here, because I couldn't just open. Well, I could solo this. So yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. You could just solo one and max it out, and then you can play it. So this is really cool. But yeah, I mean, that's a very wide range of them. So this would probably be, again, like something you don't necessarily think about, but this really expands the versatility and usability of this library. Because you could only, if you love the atmosphere layers, you can just get this for those and use these as fantastic cinematic pad atmosphere sounds. So even if you don't use any of the kind of these special kind of instruments, or if you rarely use them, you can still pull a ton of usability and versatility out of this by using these layers. And many of them sounded really, really fantastic. So yeah, very cool stuff. I think that kind of wraps it up. I was a huge fan of the mallet-based hits, really nice textures, and I was really surprised by how much I liked the wine glasses and the tuning forks. I don't tend to like those sounds, which speaks a lot about how well this is sampled, because they are very pleasantly put together. So that was fantastic. And also the percussive sounds were super good. And this shouldn't be a surprise, because they've done Tone Factory and Box Factory in such a nice way. But really cool stuff to have. Definitely going to use those in some shamanic stuff that I want to do in the future. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up. I do want to find out if I missed something on this this layer blend thing, but and whether I missed on the presets here or not. But in any case, let me know. If you got this yourself, I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you think, and if you're just checking out the video, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video and this instrument as well. So, as always, thank you for listening, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.